Hey, First United Methodist friends, it's Pastor Shannon here with our weekly update for August 20th. I wanted to take this chance to do a brief recap of our all-church Townhall meeting that we had this past Sunday after church. So if you needed to leave early or you weren't able to be at church this Sunday, this is a chance for you to kind of know what we talked about. For everyone who stayed, thank you so much, and feel free to skip to the end of this video if you would like. We addressed kind of three main issues in our town hall meeting, and the first was that I gave a brief update on our vision discernment or our vision steering process. If you remember, back in April, I kind of launched us into this vision discernment process as we, as a church, try to discover where God is calling us for such a time as this. As I often say to our vision steering team, there are a lot of great things that we could be doing as a church, a lot of great ministries and initiatives and community outreach programs, but of course we can't do it all. So what is it specifically that God is calling us to at this time in our life and our history? Now, to come up with that, we're looking at three different pillars or three different areas. The first is our own church's hopes and dreams and desires and goals, what we want to be as a church. So to get there, we had you all fill out some survey questions, and we kind of went through those responses, and we distilled it down to a few central themes. One, that we want to be faith-oriented because we are a church after all. Two, we want to be a church that feels like family. So not necessarily a church that is only for families, but a church where you can come in and you feel like this is what a church family is supposed to feel like. Three, we want to be a church that reaches out to our community. And four, we want to be a church that offers support to one another, to our members, and to others even outside our community. We want to be a supportive church. Next, we also looked at our church's history, our DNA, our story, our past, where we have been over these past 140 years. So even though we've been around for a really long time, there are a few central themes that have emerged from our history. First, that we have a great love for children and youth. Second, we have a desire to reach out to our community. And third, that we have always been a welcome and open and hospitable church for everyone. Those are just things that are part of who we are as First United Methodist Church in Excelsior Springs. And third, we're also looking at our community's needs and hopes and desires. You know, it's one thing to assume that we know what our neighbors want in a church or need in a faith community, but it's another thing to actually talk to them and figure out what it is that they need or want in a church. So that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to engage in conversations with people who live in or work in Excelsior Springs to figure out what it is that they hope to see in a church. If you want to be a part of those conversations, I would love your help. We can connect and I'll get you all We have just a few brief questions that we are trying to ask a few different people, and I'd love to get you plugged into that. Now, in our all-church town hall meeting, Jared Goodhouse also gave a brief financial update and reminded us of our financial goals for the year. Now, one of our goals is to end 2024 with a flat or a balanced budget. In other words, not spending more than we receive in income or revenue. Now, right now, as of the end of July, we are down about $8,800 for the year. So we've had to kind of dip into some of our reserves. Some of that is normal with it being the time of year that it is. We call it the summer slump. And some of that is the result of members who have chosen to step away from our church. But the bottom line is that it's going to take all of us working together to pitch in and give generously and make sure that our church is financially stable for the next 140 years. So if you have any questions about that, you can reach out to myself or to Jared, and we'd be happy to talk more. And finally, I also introduced a new structure of leadership, a new model of leadership that our church is beginning to explore called the Simplified Structure or the One Church model. Many United Methodist churches around our size, even a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, have moved to this model. It essentially eliminates the need to have separate committees for the SPPRC, the Staff Pastor Parish Relations Committee, the Finance Committee, and the trustees. Now, all the work that would normally be done by separate committees would be the work of the administrative council or the church council. We'd still keep ministry committees like worship or education or missions or the Treehouse Preschool Board, But it will just be a way to kind of simplify our structure and streamline some of our decision-making processes. I'm not going to get into that any further because you're going to hear more about it in the weeks and the months to come. Now, I know that this video is already so long, but I just wanted to remind you that next Sunday, August 25th, is Back to School Sunday. So this is a great chance to invite a friend, bring your grandkids, mention it to those in our community, and we'll also share in a fellowship lunch after service. So I hope to see you then.